And with that being said, that's the next game we're going to be watching. And that's the next game we're going to talk about. It's going to be the NFC Championship game at 3 o'clock on Sunday, right here, 20 minutes away south from me. Um, it's this is everything here. This is it. This is the whole season for both these teams. That's how playoffs work. So I'm kind of just stating the obvious. One gets a trip to the Super Bowl. One gets to go home. This morning, an interesting development came to my attention on my news feed, and it was that a iconic statue here in Philadelphia has been defaced by not only those colors. I saw a Redskins logo
That's
on
wild.
Rocky Balboa,
That's funny.
and I was like, "Whoa, this is like hate crime level stuff right now. Let's tone it down.
I
This is not acceptable in 2025."
That's not where I was gonna go, but I wanted to mention it earlier and I kind of forgot. The Commanders lost Sam Cosmi with a torn ACL, and he is
That
super
is
important
huge.
for their offensive line. And man, Jalen Carter is gonna line up against. I can't even remember who their backup guard is. He's gonna line up
He,
against like Tyler
yeah,
Biotish, Nick Allegretti, and their backup guard. Like I know Biotish is a pretty good player, and Allegretti's been okay, but man, if that isn't a
yeah.
favorable matchup, I don't know what
Yep,
is.
I love it, bro. I love it, and he's gonna be seeing double teams all game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I still expect him to be a big impact in this game. I made the mistake of not thinking he'd be, or not mentioning him as an X factor last week. I won't do that again this week. He will be an X factor, and an interesting development. Also, you could think of bulletin board material, poking the bear, whatever you want to call it. This could be it. And Washington's defensive coordinator in a press conference was talking about Jalen Hurts, and he was concussed on a hit by Louvu earlier this year. Noticing a trend with Louvu, but that's not anything. Um, and they were asking him about Jalen Hurts and whatever and his running, and he made a statement, almost sounded like a warning shot towards Jalen and Kellen Moore, saying, "If you want to run like a running back, you're going to get hit like a running back. You're going to take hits like a running back." And that's up to the discretion of them over there if that's how they want to call their plays, if that's what they want to do on off the scramble, whatever. Now, I I want to credit 975 the Fanatic here in Philadelphia because they had this reaction that I'm kind of going to echo right now. That you know you could that's fair to say because of course you're going to say if you're going to run you're going to get hit like a running back. That's fair. But there's, like I said, the stats from 975. There's two quarterbacks that have more rushing yards on the season. Do you know who they are? They're pretty easy to guess.
Jaden and Lamar.
Yup, Jaden and Lamar. So you are saying that if this guy's going to run, he's going to take big hits when the one of the only two other quarterbacks that run more than him is on your team. And I'm just saying, like, there's been a call, like a bat signal for CJ Gardner Johnson here in Philadelphia because they got Louvu, and there's a bunch of dogs here in Philly
I will
that
I will say too, a huge knock on Jaden coming out of college is that he doesn't slide and he takes a lot of really
he
bad
does
hits.
not
He's
he does
kind of
not slide.
since the beginning of the year, he's kind of shut that down. Like he protects himself a lot. He runs out of bounds a lot.
Yeah,
He kind of flops to the ground on his own discretion a lot. Like
yeah.
he'll eat like a 2 yard gain where maybe he could have gotten 4 or 5,
Hmm.
just to hit the deck. So he's gotten a lot better protecting his body. Um, yeah, he got crushed in college like endlessly. So
And I mentioned Jalen Carter lifting him up, Georgia versus LSU, holding him the way he was holding former Georgia quarterback Matt Stafford this past week in the divisional game.
yeah.
He picked them up. So I'd love to see that picture recreated in the NFC Championship. That would be awesome. Uh, One of the big things I think for this game will be my X factor this week on the offense. I know last week I said Saquon O line, Saquon and the O line is X factors. Now I want to switch it up. I said AJ Brown. I'm gonna stick with that. I think he's gonna have a big game. I'm gonna say Kellen Moore is an X factor this week for the Eagles. And the reason I think that is, like you said, if you're getting 200 yards a game from your running back, you're not going to stop that. So I expect them out the gate. You're going to run heavy with Saquon. Again, maybe run with Jalen too, a little read option, stuff like that. Um, they're going to continue to do that, hammer, pound the rock, just right up the gut, do what you got to do. See how that goes for you. But you got to force them to stop the run because if you stop the run, I think this is a barbecue chicken week for AJ Brown lining up against Marshawn Lattimore.
I do that the Kenny Pickett game that they lost. I think he threw to Marshawn. I think he threw AJ Brown, Marshawn Lattimore like 10 times in a row, and I
Yes,
think
just the
Lattimore had like,
DPIs.
yeah, I think Lattimore had like 3 or 4 defensive pass interferences. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Just a random note that doesn't matter at all. Uh, since they played twice in the regular season, I'm happy Washington beat them once actually, because if you're 2-0 against a team, I just feel like it's really hard to beat a team 3 times.
3 times. That's a little scary, and you don't get a fair, like, from Washington's perspective. You don't really have a fair look at the Eagles' offense without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I
I
mean
I think.
they played them early on. It was a big Saquon game, as expected. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was a game. There's a big Terry McLaurin Quinion Mitchell matchup, and I think Terry had like 1 catch for 5 yards or
for,
something like
he
that
had a touchdown catch on Quinion, I think.
at the end of the year. In the last game of the year,
Yeah. You're right. In the
the
last
the,
game of the
the
year, he
game
had
at the link was
Yeah,
really
Thursday night football.
more slow. I remember the ending sequence for Washington was kind of odd. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember that game ending out kind of weird. It was 26-18, so a pretty peculiar score.
No,
Um,
let me do some research here.
yeah, and then
Let me find.
obviously Jaden ended the year with that 5 touchdown game where Washington had 5 turnovers and they won anyway. Kenny Pickett was playing too, which you know, Kenny
Yeah,
Pickett.
so at the end of I do remember this game. Actually, I remember this game now. Good game. This Thursday night football, 26-18, Eagles won. Zach Ertz got a touchdown and 2-point conversion to get it within 8. They tried the onside, they didn't get it. Saquon had a 39-yard touchdown run. Reed Blankenship had that pick.
Dude, all of his interceptions are like sliding over the middle.
Yup, every single time, even dating back to week 1 in Brazil. It's been awesome. Hopefully, he can lock in and be an X factor this week. That would be awesome. Quinion versus Terry will be big. Maybe the return of the Grim Reaper that is playoff Jahan Dotson
Yeah, against his former
coming
team.
to haunt Washington.
That would be really fitting.
That'd be awesome. That'd be
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, I'll look at guys like that in the passing game. Like give me a Dallas Goddard Jahan Dotson game, and I'm gonna say extension of the running game, Saquon Barkley in the passing game. Just get the dude the ball anyway, anyhow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we saw a plethora of screenplays from Kellen against the Rams, which were
Hmm.
all very timely and very successful, except
Yeah,
one illegal man downfield on one to Dallas. Um,
yeah. That was rough.
that was unfortunate, but yeah, I mean,
That would
I
have been an awesome play
yeah,
too.
it was a really good play call. Kellen's been good in my opinion in the playoffs.
Hmm.
So I just this is really fun. This is Washington at their absolute peak versus just Philadelphia has been steady, just what you expect week in and week out.
Yeah.
Um, just I wonder how many times we're gonna see this matchup in the future in the playoffs because man,
Hmm.
I mean, like these two teams collision course right now with how Howie manages the Eagles roster, and then Washington got their guy, and Dan Quinn, pretty big flip of the script head coaching job from him, and the whole Washington organization they get rid of God, who was that annoying dude that everyone hated that sold the
Oh
team.
my God. Yeah, I know who you're talking
As
about.
soon as he sells the team, they're good. Isn't that hilarious?
All right.
Lot of rambling here from us.
Lot of rambling.
Uh,
We're gonna
yeah,
we're gonna make our final predictions
yeah.
on this.
we're getting there eventually. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, yeah. It's a steady climb. It's a long road to the
All
end.
right,
We know
please say yours. I'm gonna have a stroke.
that. Hosting the NFC Championship, the Philadelphia Eagles punched their ticket to New Orleans, beating Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. I'll say they put up 30 points. I say that they win 31. I like 23. I say 31-23 because I said 23 last week and that panned out well. 31-23, Eagles win.
I went 34-29 Eagles win because the weather looks a little more favorable.
Yep.
And I think it's like mid 30s to 40s. No
Yeah. It
precipitation.
shouldn't
So
be too bad. But there's no dome here, Jaden. You
yeah,
can't
so
run. You can't run.
it'll be interesting. Really looking forward to that. It should be a fun game.
Yeah. And a game
Just
that
something different too.
yeah, a game that will be really interesting because a lot of people I know, there's two kinds of people in Philly right now, and they either feel amazing and they're thrilled, which if you told me 2 weeks ago that Eagles are playing Commanders in the NFC Championship, I would have been thrilled. And then there's the people that are hesitant and they're like, the Commanders are hot. They're coming in hot.
I mean, I'd just be hesitant regardless because it's an NFC Championship game. I don't really care who I'm playing.
Exactly. It does. It shouldn't matter. It's any
Yeah.
given Sunday, and that's been my message. I think that Washington's a team to be feared. And I think anyone who doesn't fear what they have going on right now is an idiot. Um, with that being said, I am confident in my birds, and I believe, and I think this is the year. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to prove so many people wrong. And I've been pushing this agenda for years, bro. I've been pushing this agenda before he was even in Philly.
You should F
But
around and throw for 350 yards.
I would, oh my God, that would be beautiful. And I couldn't ask for anything else more than that. But there's on the other side of the country, I mean, Midwest, I guess, over at Arrowhead, there's a huge matchup. Number one seed still alive, playing against Buffalo Bills, coming off a big win against probably the MVP of the year. Um, I don't know about this game, man. I really don't know. I wish I had a better analysis of it. I think it's going to be rather low scoring because that's what we've seen from these teams coming into this weekend. And I want to pick the Bills. I do want to.
Yeah, I didn't have a great thought process on this either. The first thing I did was pull up the 3 playoff meetings they've had in recent memory, and Patrick Mahomes' stats in these games are disgusting, like disgustingly good.
Yeah. Yeah.
First meeting in 2020, Chiefs win 38-24. Mahomes goes 29 of 38 for 325 and 3 touchdowns. Second meeting, the 13-second game, the overtime where only the Chiefs
That
got the ball and
was
they changes the playoff rules or whatever. Mahomes goes 33 of 44 for 378 and 3 touchdowns. He runs for 69 and a touchdown. This is Gabe Davis, 8 catches, 201 yards, four
what a
touchdown game,
game.
and then he's
What a game.
fallen off the face of the earth.
He's in Jacksonville now.
And he's injured and bad.
Yeah.
And then last season, the Chiefs win 27-24. Patrick Mahomes goes 17 of 23, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big Isaiah Pacheco game in that one. Yeah, I mean, Mahomes has been ridiculous against Buffalo in the playoffs. Unreal efficiency. They put up the points. Last year was a little more defensive. It's what I expect. Um, the the difference for the Bills in this game is the production they get from their running backs because that's the way that's how they're functioning as an offense. It's what they're running their offense through is their running backs. James Cook on the ground, Ty Johnson in the air, Ray Davis a little in between the tackles. He reminds me of Doug Martin a little bit. I think he wears the same number as Doug Martin too. I think they both wear 22. Shout out Doug Martin. I really like Doug Martin.
See, we always gotta have a shout out.
I know.
Someone must get. Shout out.
I've never even thought to compare Ray Davis to Doug Martin either. I just had that in my subconscious, and I'm like, that guy's Doug Martin. So yeah, the Bills did nothing special against the Ravens, but they didn't turn the ball over. You can't turn the ball over against the Chiefs. It's the bottom line. I went
Yeah.
26-23 Bills, but I don't feel good about it because I don't feel good about picking the Chiefs either. So I don't
And
know.
here's my thing.
I hate it.
I said I want to pick the Bills, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm like I cannot bet against the Chiefs in the playoffs. I can't do it. I'm hoping
Yeah,
Pacheco gets a game. I think Mahomes will do what needs to be done as far as the playoffs, whether it's 180 yards or 350 yards, like you said.
probably
He'll
the
just get it
reasonable
done.
deduction. Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what you need out of him. He'll give it to you. It doesn't have to be pretty. It probably will be ugly. I think this will be
Yeah,
an ugly win
probably.
for whoever wins. But I think the Chiefs win it 21-17.
I just like cursing the Bills with the chance of playing their fifth NFC East opponent in the Super Bowl. The four they lost in a row were all
Wow.
NFC East
Yeah.
teams. Um, so if they made a fifth and then played another NFC East team, and God forbid they lost a fifth, kind of be hilarious to talk
A
about.
Super Bowl loss for the Bills would probably be the most devastating. Like you finally climb to the top of the hill
Yeah.
just to get immediately knocked off. I don't think New York would ever recover.
um, yeah, the Chiefs to me are so unwatchable. I hate being that guy. I really do. And like I'm a guy who appreciates defense and stuff like that. I just can't even appreciate watching the Chiefs play football. I really can't. It really annoys me. I hate being that guy. I really do. But like
Yeah.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. So big rooting interest in Buffalo in this game.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, we didn't touch on too much. I like just these teams are what we know them to be. I
Yeah.
think Washington is really the only outlier and kind of the new kid on the block. But like the rest of these teams, they are what they've been the whole season. There hasn't been like a drastic change or anything like that. And collision course, kind of what we all expected, except
Hmm.
Washington. So
And
should be exciting. Nice
I
little
will
wrinkle.
say, before we wrap up the NFL talk, I had a preseason prediction. I'm going to say this every week, and hopefully I can keep this going into the Super Bowl. My Super Bowl prediction was the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And both teams are one game away from the Super Bowl rematch that I predicted at the top of the year. So I will say, if my prediction's correct, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be happy. I'll be happy about
I do like me a rematch, although I just said it. I don't want the Chiefs to win.
it.
My second life on the Super Bowl prediction ended rather shortly. That did not last very long.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at least the Texans got a playoff win.
Yeah, good for the Texans, I guess. I
The Packers,
Yikes, Jordan Love, man,
eh,
double agent stuff.
Toyotathon, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needs to find he needs to hook up with that Toyota lady who's been doing those commercials for like 15 years, and he needs to get an extension on Toyotathon throughout the playoffs.
Yup. Yup. Yeah, he needs to make some moves around Toyota.
All right,
Maybe next year.
yeah, maybe next year.